I don't want to see my mother cry like that ever again.
Who that? Yeah, I mean that.
She's the queen of dancehall with electrifying dance moves.
I would rate her like a Beyonce.
I better not get him saying want some more. Do it again, them like, oh my lord. When one gets
Cindy has got the world of entertainment on fire with hits that have dazzled her fans. With a troubled childhood upbringing, this country girl quickly turned into a superstar with her group members, Blue 3.
1, 2, 3, and up. Let me see you burn. Make it burn, make it burn.
It was big songs, big producers, big writers.
But before she could enjoy the fruits of her success, she was dropped and her world collapsed, with the people she trusted the most deserting her.
I felt like my life was over.
With all hope lost, she relied on the solid foundation of her family to bounce back.
Daphne offered to help her.
With renewed energy, she hit back and the world went crazy.
It was a statement, as far as I'm concerned, to the world that, you know what, I'm done mourning, I'm done crying, now let the celebration begin.
This is Cindy, the story behind the Billboard star. Cindy has had an immense success story, from the humble beginnings of her childhood to being the star she is today.
Cindy now is like a bird in the air.
One time I told Steve that if these girls ever were to break up, Cindy would make it as, you know, a dancehall artist.
I got a hot guy chilling in my beamer.
Cindy has blossomed even more. She's gotten more comfortable in her shoes as an artist.
I am here and I'm here to stay.
She had to endure pain at such a tender age.
I don't want to see my mother cry like that ever again.
When you're young and you see your mother crying, you're like, oh, we are really doing badly.
Learned to babysit her little brother.
Before he could talk, he was in class with me.
And later on as a single mother.
I swore that I would never ever depend on a man's riches.
She's working really hard.
Her music has always been very sensational.
One wants to love me, one wants to help me, but they all look the same when them approach me.
I want a message in every song. I want somebody to listen and learn something. I want somebody to sit down and understand where I'm coming from.
Everybody wants a sample, but they're buying. And if they don't like the sample, they're not buying.
And having broken away from Blue 3 helped to redefine Cindy, who really, after experimenting, tried this and that to rejuvenate herself.
When they broke up, she's the one that first hit, you know, the city with a bang.
All the girls them looking for man, them never understand. Come you want this select.
Cindy was born Cinderella Sanyu Muyonjo in Gulu, northern Uganda, on the 28th of August 1985, in a family of 8 children, born to Mr. Edward Muyonjo and Angela Arimuyonjo. Both her parents served in the Uganda police force.
They used to work with the army before there was that kind of unity between the police and the army.
Of all the children at home, Cindy was Daddy's favorite girl, whom he played the guitar for while she watched.
He played the acoustic and the bass guitar. And my mom tells me that he used to put me on his lap and then play.
She was always with him.
That music poisoned me as a child.
But it was during the 1986 war that saw President Milton Obote and his generals ousted by the National Resistance Army that Cindy's father was murdered. Cindy was just 2 years old.
We were awakened by bullets. And he was like, you come, bring all the children and we pray because my time of death has come. Then I told him, let me hide you under the bed. He said, no. Daphne was carrying Cindy. I opened the behind door. As soon as I opened, Daphne took off to the toilet. So the other children all followed. So I went to the toilet. As soon as I reached, I had a bullet. I had him falling down. We went and broke the doors of the toilet and we made a coffin. And we buried the body there in Igulu.
With Mr. Muyonjo now a distant memory, Cindy's mother was left with 8 children to raise by herself.
She was that kind of woman who was determined to just raise her, her 8 children by herself.
The salary that she received was too little to help her take care of all her children.
I was really desperate. You get that small salary and you try to divide it between the children.
We struggled. We didn't go to good schools. We did not even have nice food.
At this time, most of her family members and friends distanced themselves from her and the children. And it would be during this time that she lost her job with the police force.
My mother never gave us up for 1 second. The people in the villages kept saying, why are you suffering with those girls? Marry them off. As soon as I was 14 years old, my relatives started bringing men to marry me. One of our aunties who, she said, like, anytime you have a problem, you go to this person, She said, let's go to my Mama Barbara. So I came back from school one day and I was really, really hungry. And then there was no food at home. I said, you know what, I'll go to Mama Barbara. So I go to her and I say, Mama Barbara, I'm hungry. I really want to eat something. And she looked at me like I was some thing. And then she pushed my head like that and she said, you poor people. That made me determined as a kid that, you know what, I'm going to get out of this situation and take everybody in this situation out of it.
Oh, got something on my mind.
During the harsh start without Cindy's father, the family struggled to find something to eat and would get handouts from well-wishers.
The quartermaster of the police really saw that I was in problems. So he decided to be supplying us with a sack of posho and then a sack of beans. The children could go hunting for doves. If we eat one, that's really something. Christmas, I could buy a half kilo of rice. And that half kilo of rice you eat with beans. And the children were happy with it because there was nothing else.
On Christmas would be like, I have a thigh of a dove.
Eventually there came a woman, a girl, who used to give us the heads of sheep. That was when my children tasted what is called meat.
That woman fed us until we really grew up.
Cindy's mother, now without a job, tried everything to provide for her family.
My mom used to make the local brew, waraji, and malwa.
I said, let me distill something. Maybe I could get fees.
It would be a near-death experience on 2 occasions that Cindy's mother went on to try and find modest work.
I told Daphne, go and see the fire. Then that thing on top, the cover, went off. Then I pulled Daphne slightly like this, and to all forward there should have been dead by then. So I said, to hell with all these works.
With the children watching their mother struggle, they each tried doing what they could in order to bring food to the table.
Daphne used to go to school with sweets to sell. Obviously, that one can't even bring anything. Sometimes I could cut sugar cane, say, Daphne, at break time, take the sugar cane and sell. And she could do it.
I started doing that in P6, so every now and then whenever my mother didn't have money, I'll be like, I have this money I've saved.
Seeing her mother desperate to find some money for her children, Cindy took her late father's expensive watch from her mother's drawer and sold it off cheaply.
And then when mom asked for the watch, she got a beating of her life.
Despite having been disciplined by her mother, Cindy was constantly admiring the resilience and attitude that her mother possessed.
I don't remember feeling like my mom doesn't love me. I always felt like we had love.
Coming up.
We were all screaming. Mom thought someone was killing us.
What if she goes back to the moment of asking God, why did I have all these children?
With a makeshift home her mother had managed to construct, Cindy's family was exposed to harsh weather conditions that left Cindy's mother in sorrow, something that remains a painful memory in Cindy's life.
There was no way I could put my kids. I decided to build a house made out of timber, just on the side like this, and then up, then put a cavera, and I put my kids inside.
It used to leak, so we had this. In the Uganda police, they have these tables. They are metallic, very strong metals that have like a top that Mom used as a basin because it was large enough to sort of cover us from the rain at the top of the bunk bed. Duff was sleeping. She was like, You know, she got tired. I think she forgot, the conscience of a person who is asleep. I sat. So off went that thing, flying off of the bed and poured water on us.
There's this cold water at 3 a.m. just raining on us.
I was screaming, and the person next to me, Mom thought someone was killing us. My mom, I remember after clearing everything, sat there and really cried,
I heard my mom just crying to God like, why is this happening to me? Why? Why did you take their father away? Excuse me. Why did you do this to my children? Why am I stuck with 7 children and nobody to help me? And my relatives can't come in. And I had that as a child. And I thought, I don't want to see my mother cry like that ever again. I don't want to see her. That cry haunts me every single time. I feel like every time I relax and I rest, I feel like, what if she goes back to the moment of asking God, why did I have all these children?
When Cindy was about 4 years old, her mother took her to St. Jude Kindergarten and Primary School, even though she had to babysit her little brother, who was only 2.5 years old.
Because Mom had to go to work. So, I just had to come with him. Before he could talk, he was in class with me. I used to just drag him on to nursery, to top class, and he was just there having a good time. When he was sick, I had to learn how to take care of him. So he went with me up to top class until he could talk. Then I had to leave him and he'd have to go back to baby class.
Despite the problems surrounding her family, Cindy would cheer up her mother whenever she sang.
It was rare to see my mom like happy and just let loose. But every time I sang, her face lit up. Like I could see that even as a child, I was like, whoa.
Her mother nicknamed her Chaka Chaka.
She would just tell me, just sing some more. And then the more I sing, she'd tell me, she would tell me, you're going to be like Whitney Houston. You're going to be like Mariah Carey.
And yes, indeed, it won her heart and all throughout her childhood. Cindy would take this to another level.
Every time I was angry, she would tell me, Chaka Chaka doesn't cry. I'd be like, I'm Yvonne. Nothing can touch me, I am beautiful. I am strong. The whole world knows me.
Mama baby, call me landlady. Say you the chopping go koi hood and be rushed. One touch and knock you down. Me not care what them say, I shut you down. Say,
Cindy found solace in church, where she praised all day and all evening as she sang her heart out to God to intervene in her family's problems.
She used to go to church all the time.
I used to kneel and pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
But when she would return home, her mother would beat her up thinking that she was spending her time in the clubs and discotheques.
She could go to sing and she comes very late and she walks alone. But I couldn't sleep. I was always waiting for her.
Because we look alike, in the church, they would always chase her from churches because they thought, because me, I'm a club person and she was a church girl, they would always think that Cindy was the one in club.
The disciplining that Cindy received from her mother would only propel her father into what she believed in the most.
She's telling me, if you go, I am going to break your legs when you come back. I'll be like, Okay.
Being a single parent, if you leave these children to get spoiled, it is not easy.
With an upcoming crusade, Cindy finally got the opportunity to perform in front of a crowd, an opportunity she would not have exchanged for anything else in the world.
I told her tomorrow we have a crusade, so I have to go really early and help them, put the speakers up, do the sound. So I'm going to be away from home from morning until evening. So tell me whatever you need me to do in the morning, then I can leave. And then she thought, who are you talking to? She's like, okay, do this, clean the house, do this. She tried to make it impossible for me. So I woke up really early, and by 8 I was done. Then I tell her I'm going to the crusade. She said, if I find you at the crusade, I'm going to beat you up in front of the whole audience. And then in the evening, when she was done to work, she came. She came with her stick, and she was ready to beat me up in front of everybody. Now, she stood right in front of the audience. So I was going up on stage, and I see my mom. I get the microphone, and I'm a bit late, and the instrument is playing. Everybody's dancing, thinking, chick sings.
It was during this performance on stage that her mother noticed the star in the making.
She just gave me the tightest hug ever. And then she told me I was amazing. She told me I should never stop. And I could not believe it. I said nothing. We didn't speak the whole way home. Every time I'm on stage, I remember that. And I don't care if people are looking at me, if they're paying any attention at all. I don't care what they're feeling like. That moment right there is just something that I kind of live for.
Eventually, I came to know that she loved the music from the beginning.
From then, my mother has never stopped me. Since anything I do for music, she just supports. She's like, you go.
nakulese wongosamade tetumanye kusoma bitaala toli bulungi naye oteredde tetumanye kubala budde.
Cindy's interest in wanting to sing came at a time when musicians didn't make enough money to sustain themselves, and they would also be looked at as failures and likely to die of AIDS. Cindy's mother, despite loving to see her daughter sing, was very quick to point her in another direction, becoming a doctor or something better to enable her live a much more successful life.
She made me the doctor gown and bought me like a dummy stethoscope that I could use just to inspire me to, to be a doctor, because that didn't happen. I had to prove to her that, I don't have to be a doctor to achieve what you want me to achieve. My music had to be a big deal so that she can forget about these small things like, I educated you for nothing.
It was during this time that another opportunity came along for Cindy to showcase what she's capable of. And this would happen in Bali when gospel artist Makoma, a very famous band, came to perform.
We were in the crowd, me, Cindy, and the rest of my sisters and brothers. So they were like, who are the Makomas from Mbale? Who can represent Mbale people, Cindy stood up. She sang a song, one of Makoma's songs, and she sang it really nicely, whereby the Makomas even gave her a contact. They told her they would want to help her musically. And then, as a family that has nothing, we got the contacts, but we did nothing about it. So that was it for her. The whole Mbale now began saying, yeah, that she can sing and all that.
With school remaining a priority, thanks to her mother, Cindy joined Progressive Senior Secondary School for her Senior 5, where she became a head girl, thanks to her music popularity.
There was nobody that stood against me. It was just like everybody was like, you know what? Cinderella Sanyo, that's our head girl.
While at school, the search for the next Coca-Cola Real Stars started, and it would be Cindy's mother to encourage her to give it a shot.
She was on my case every single day. She's like, record the damn thing.
At the time, she was working at OPG, Open Gate FM in Mbale. So it was easy for her to do that. So
I gave her money to go and send it, post it by then. When she went there, she feared. She came back and kept quiet. I said, Cindy, did you send? Said, no.
I felt like if I send the tape and then I don't get accepted, I'm going to start feeling bad. So I'm not going to do that.
Mommy made sure she was the one to send it. If I remember well, it was Capital FM where they were sending those tapes to.
They played my tape on the radio. I'm like, and that was my voice playing on the radio. And then Steve Jean says, I want to meet this girl. It was a huge deal. I wanted someone to pinch me.
I remember hearing her on radio and thinking, oh, she can try. You know, she's as proud of her. Then they called her and said she can come.
With all the competitors now in Kampala, each competitor had to look for votes so as to win the competition.
I remember I went to stay with her when it was the finals. I remember walking the streets asking people to vote for Cindy, and some of the people were like, what? You know, they didn't know what was happening, but we had to explain, me and her, you know. So we did that for 5 days, you know, and yeah, we did get quite a few. On the last day, I remember Cindy saying, I'm sure we've got votes here.
When the results finally came up, Cindy was heavily disappointed, and the fear of failure would start to haunt her.
She was not happy about it. She cried.
I wish we had just walked just 1 more hour. I'm sure I would have gotten just those few votes that would have, you know, because I remember them saying they won each other by one vote each.
Impressed with Cindy's ability to perform, it took one of Uganda's best producers and a protege of Dungeon Studios, Steve Jean, to convince her to do a song that he would completely finance just to prove that she was that good.
I recorded a song called Time to Say Goodbye. I did the song. It was great. It played at the radio stations.
People got to know her.
Have you seen me on the dancing floor?
With Cindy now in Senior 6, the mother of all competition was to take centerfold.
I remember Steve calling me and saying, hey, where is Cindy, you know? That girl was really good, you know, I think this is a good opportunity for her. And I'm like, no, we don't want to go through that pain. These things have politics. So you were just thinking all these things. And he's like, no, she will actually do well.
$50,000 at stake. The country was fired up to join the new Coca-Cola pop stars. But Cindy would want nothing to do with it.
I thought, you know, I failed real stars. I don't want to go for pop stars. I was living in a very remote area in a small place called Kabalagala in Kampala. So Steve Jean came. He was driving one of the poshest cars at that moment.
And I'm like, what is this car doing here?
He came just bumping all over the place to my home, like, you have to go for these auditions. I don't care how you're dressed or how you feel about yourself, but you have to go for these auditions because you can't miss this opportunity.
At the auditions, Cindy presented something that none of the judges had seen coming.
There was something in her that I saw, which I'll be honest with you, even the other judges didn't see, because when the contestant went out, we discussed it and said. And I remember putting my foot down and saying, no, I think that girl has potential. We need to put her through.
I knew I could sing. I just didn't think there was something special.
I would rate her like a Beyonce of Uganda. Yeah, because she can sing, but as well as dance. And today's music, you know how it is. Yeah, you need to have both. And Cindy had that. She was kind of 360 degrees complete, you know, as a musician, as a performer.
I got into pop stars, and then they went from thousands to 50 to 40 to 12, then to finally selecting the best 3, and that became Blue 3.
The glamorous reception that Blue 3 received at Entebbe Airport upon arrival from South Africa shocked Cindy's family, especially after seeing the transformation she had brought back home.
It was Coca-Cola, it was international, so we had the most extravagant publishing, you understand, the most extravagant marketing, and it was billboards, it was big songs, big producers, big writers.
The journey as a Blue 3 member was just beginning, and it didn't mix well with Cindy's family values. But the money that came with the job was too good to be true, because then she believed she had found a solution to her family's problems.
When she came back, she looked a diva.
The transformation was really big. She had this money, and she's like, you know, we're supposed to get our own house, we're supposed to get a car, and all these things. And yeah, at least I had someone else, you know, to back me up.
We were really very happy. We knew God had attended to our prayers and we had a blessing already at home.
Coming up,
They gave her like an ultimatum.
It wasn't that easy for me to just come back home.
Each one gives their own reasons for the breakup.
It hurt. Like crazy. I used to sing only Christian music. And then now I was singing music that didn't have Jesus in it.
The church girl now began, dressing the way she was supposed to dress.
I was fighting inside of me. I was like, am I doing something wrong? Am I just working?
So I remember at the video, Cindy wearing the black dress and saying, I cannot wear this dress. This dress is too short for me. She cried. She made everyone sit down and give her advice. It's okay. She said, how are people going to see me in this very short thing? It's like I'm selling something. And even when you look in the video, she is dancing, but she's not throwing herself about like she would normally.
Then we should live to tell. Baby, take my hand, let me through the trench. Meant for us to trip. So let me make a sweet, let me make a turn strike. When the sun's coming up and I'ma pull the shots. What? I'ma pull the shots. Sun's coming up and I'ma pull the shots.
I'd never seen $1 million shillings in my entire life. So I looked at the money and I couldn't touch it. I tried to touch it and my hands were shaking like that. And I called my sister. I said, you need to come help me pick up my money.
She's like, pay the rent, pay the power, pay for the water and all that. So it was bills.
The first money she got, actually, she gave me. Said, Mommy, have this money. Go and buy something to put on. So I was really very happy. I couldn't even believe.
it would be about the same time that Cindy would fall in love with the man of her dreams.
As a kid, I used to watch this action series called Renegade. And there was this guy on a bike with long hair, just destroying bad guys, Lorenzo Lamas. So I thought I wanted to get married to Lorenzo when I grew up. I went for dinner with my sister and her boyfriend, and then the boyfriend invites his friend, and this was Mario. And I saw him, and he had this long hair, and he was on a bike, and it was just, it just matched at that time, and he is so hot. He looks like a Tom Cruise or something, It was like living my dream when I saw him.
From the very start, the mood was right, and boy, I was waiting for someone to do me right, someone loving and caring.
I fell in love with him over time, and we were together for about 10 years.
The success that Blue 3 had managed to achieve in a very short period of time with such hits as Hitaji, Kancha Chanche, Sanyuka Nawe, Steve Jean saw it fit to give the girls a break.
Steve had watched us work for 2 years with no holiday. We left school and we just started touring and working. We never stopped working with him. It was always every week. There was a schedule for rehearsal. There was a schedule for recording. There was a schedule for appearances and all the things. So after 2 years, he said, you know what? You girls go and have a holiday. For a month, I'm not going to call you. Don't call me. Just go and be kids.
The girls would have to go on holidays to destinations of their choice, with Cindy heading off to Spain, Lillian to Kigali, and Jackie to her hometown in Arua.
About 10 days later, they called me and they said, there's a show. There was an opportunity to perform in the north. For good money, yes, it was a big show. So they said, for us, we're ready to work because they were closer. It wasn't that easy for me to just come back home.
They gave her like an ultimatum.
Automatically, I thought, they'll wait.
Cindy, be here on Monday or we are going to do this. So Cindy's like, I do not have the money to change my flight, and come back. Can you guys send the money for me to come back? And they're like, no.
It would soon be revealed to the fans of Blue 3 that Cindy had been dropped because of unavoidable circumstances.
I remember sitting in the car for 2 hours just outside the club, just crying my heart out. And I was thinking one of the girls are going to come out and maybe say, hey, thanks for coming out. We're really sorry.
That was heartbreaking for very many people in the industry. I mean, this was no doubt the first Ugandan girl group to be together. I mean, there was Obsessions who were in between doing their dramas and dancing and doing the music, but this was the one girl group that was doing a good job. And then you're thinking, you know, they're going to do this a long time, and then they break up.
In everything which happens in this world, there is always a purpose for it. There is what God has prepared for you. I told her, no, you finish your holiday and you come back. She had even lost weight because she was worried of what to do.
It hurts like crazy.
After confirming that she was not wanted anymore, Cindy's world collapsed around her, and the fear of failure came back to haunt her.
I had to get my mind right and just start all over again.
Cindy had to rely on the solid foundation of her family to bounce back, and with a new face, she decided to go solo.
By that time, she didn't have enough money. Daphne offered to give money, videos, what.
At the time, I'd started Charlie Gonza, my fashion label. And it wasn't doing very, very well, but it had started picking.
Cindy's elder sister, Daphne, took matters into her own hands to manage Cindy after failing to see a worthy manager to take her on.
They were interested in managing her, but when I looked at the contracts, they were really bad. I looked at the percentages they wanted, and I thought, what if tomorrow she really does well for herself? So I remember telling her, you can't sign this contract, it's really bad. I have some money, not much, but I can help you with, whatever you need.
The journey together would soon see Cindy release her first single, Mbikoye, written and produced by Dennis Katoke.
So I thought I wanted to do something totally different because everybody expected me to compete with Blue 3 at that time with the style that they were doing. So I thought I'm going to take a totally different lane. I wanted to take away the whole Cindy from Blue 3 thing because it was on my back and I couldn't let it go. And I wanted my fans as well. I wanted to start with a whole new group of fans, with a whole new everything. So I decided, let me do an Afro style, nothing urban. I wanted it to look like a small beginning. I wanted everybody to accept it the way it was, and that is how I did it.
Mbikoye, Love Yembirigo. That was her very first song out, if I remember, after she broke up with Blue 3. It sounded like she was singing about a man, but people said she was singing about the group. That's why she left. It was a hidden message. I don't know about that, but that was more emotional. She was reaching out to your heart. It was a rich song.
Soon after, Cindy linked up with Mickey Wine, one of Uganda's best writers, producer and artist, who later on introduced her to a genre that thought would interest her.
He just thought, you know what? I think your voice would be great with dancehall. I thought, So I go into the studio and started to sing the song. It was called Number One. So I sing the song, I sing my verses, and at the end of the day, when they played it back to me, I could not believe it.
Hey.
We are the number one because singing a new word star, we are mash up the nation.
We are the number one, all the girls them picking the comfy treatment from the doctor.
We are the number one, all the man them face, jumping way for the mistress. We are the number one.
When Cindy finally became a writer, the result was Ayocha Ayocha, a hit song that created tremors across the continent.
Hey, hey, hey. Can you feel the heat? It's burning up.
Ayocha Ayocha basically means he's hot. It's the first time that a Ugandan artist had done a song which was very sexual, but also in a style that was different. Now, dancehall at the time wasn't really selling. So after I did Ayocha Ayocha, within the first 2 weeks of releasing the song, it was everywhere.
Cindy had finally found her footing, and with the new face, Cindy was referred to as the Queen of
I
dancehall.
started being called Cindy Ayocha, which is amazing because it means Cindy, the hot one. I was like, yay.
It was a statement, as far as I'm concerned, to the world that, you know what, I'm done mourning, I'm done crying. Now, let the celebration begin.
Cindy's love life was still going strong with Mario, and it wasn't long after she went solo that they welcomed their daughter, Amani Brunetti, in 2011.
I woke Mario up and he did not wake up. I decided, you know what, I'm going to drive myself. And I had my back hurting all over the place and feeling like the baby's going to tear me apart, but I was driving my van like this. After everything was done, I woke up and saw this beautiful baby. Amani came into my life at the most peaceful point of my life. Amani means peace, and in certain points of Kenya, it means respect. And both the things coming together, I felt like this is perfect. Just Amani. It was something that we agreed on, me and her father at that time.
And just within 3 weeks after the birth of their daughter, Cindy was back on the road, haunted by the memories of her troubled past.
When my father died and then my mother lost everything, in a way, in my mind, I swore that I would never, ever depend on a man's riches. I'm not going to sit down with this baby and think that Mario is going to take care of my life. I still have to get back on the road. So I shot the video for Party. During the shoot, I would come and shoot and go and breastfeed and come back and take two and go and breastfeed. You know, I got into the gym and doing my music again and had my hits all over again. That's when Selector came in. Now, I was sitting in a club one day and I was listening to this song called Gala Babo. I just started writing because I was in a club just thinking about the situation when I'm there and the beat is playing. And it's just Selector, this one's for you and me, yeah. And when I came out of the club the next day, I just called my producer. By then I worked with a new guy called Race, and I called him. I said, I have the song.
You play that song and you're sure the flow will fill.
After a couple of #1 hits on both Ugandan and African charts, Cindy, under the guidance of her sister Daphne, decided it was about time to produce a concert. It would be called Mateka. With a meager budget, they set out to do exactly that.
Mateka was the biggest song for me at that time, and even in Uganda it was the biggest song of the year in 2012. I got a very good team to come together. I got Silk Events. They believed in me like crazy because I didn't have the right budget, but they believed that we could, at the end of the day, we'll work it out.
Welcome to the Mateka concert, officially.
I invited Lillian and Jackie. We didn't have a great relationship, but there's certain things that you can't forget. You can't forget when we were on stage together how magical that moment was. Every time we were on stage, all the small things didn't seem to matter anymore as long as we were there. We almost wanted to cry, like all of us. I remember at a certain point we held hands and just started squeezing each other's hands.
I want to take this moment just to honor Blue 3 because that is where I stand from. Just so you know, that is why I dressed up like this because I don't want you to forget any small beginning.
I went to Ginger, and by the time I stepped on the stage, there was a line on the street, that is stuff that I'd seen when Conscience comes here. I'd seen it when Kofi or Lomide comes here. Outside the concert, you have a line of people. And I saw this while I was driving to the venue, and that was all people who were coming to support me. It was an awesome experience.
Thank you so much for the love that you're giving back to me.
I'm so grateful to so many people. My sister, Daphne, was there, who was my manager at that moment. Aunties I hadn't seen in a long time. My mother was there, just everyone. Amani was there, Mario was there. I remember in the middle of the concert at Katikati, I remember feeling like I wish Dad was here, because he was the musician of the family and I'm the only one who picked it up. I felt like he would have been proud,
With the ever-growing demands to manage Cindy piling up and the need to settle down and embark on a family of her own, Daphne gave up her role as Cindy's manager.
I remember feeling really exhausted after the Amateka concert. Not tired of managing my sister, but I need a break, I need to take care of my baby, my girl, my firstborn. And I need, my business was growing. Everything was like, I thought, how am I going to juggle between my business and manage my sister as well?
Despite dropping off Cindy's wagon, she still plays a very significant role in her sister's life.
I still support her in whatever way she wants.
Having been through it all, Cindy is ready to take on another step into nurturing young people who want to do music.
I want to start working on my legacy now, something that I would look back at and feel like I made a contribution to the industry, not just in Uganda, but in Africa.
Will never let me go. Me make them crazy when I go down low now.
I want to do a record label and just help other artists to do it. I want to just widen, because right now it's not just about music for me. It's a lifestyle. So I just want to package it into something that I can give a money, say, or I can give just to the next kid and say, you know what, this is it, let's do this.
She's working really hard, She owns her own recording studio and she has a band.
She has ventured into movies, and her debut movie was Bella. Her role as the lead actress has won her a nomination for Best Actress in a Drama Film at the AMVCAs in 2018.
Find your way home from here. Thank you.
Bella. My name is Bella.
The King herself, as she's commonly known, has established herself as a brand that is taking the music industry on a global scale.
This year I've been nominated for the Afrima Awards in a continental category, which is Best Dancehall Artist.
He got me singing like, la la la, let them know that. He got me singing like, every time you give me that action, say.
I want to pinch myself because I am with people as big as Pato Rankin and Timaya and Neka, all these people that I watch on MTV BISH all the time, and I rarely get to watch myself on such televisions. So just seeing them on the same lineup and compete for votes like myself, it just shows me, what, I'm here.
By continuously releasing hit songs and doing collabos with numerous artists, this has excited her fans.
She's a great artist, she's a great performer, she's a great musician. Her videos are fantastic.
I'm loving the way you move, but girl, you don't know. And the place where you go, my girl, I follow.
Come see the way I run this city, where every man wanna bounce this booty. I make you stay a long time, no quickie. So come see me. That's rough from me, I know what we do. Sometime alone, I know that with my crew. Oy, me, I murder them so like no. Can you embody na the flow when they step on it? Can you embody na the bed when you walk on it? All them other guys don't know what to do with it.
This single mother is ready to be the best mother that she can be for her daughter. Something she learned from her mother, Angela Alimuyonjo.
My mother always calls me Omubanda. She says, I have a daughter who's a ninja, and she doesn't understand that she is my inspiration till this day.
For the many more years to come, Cindy is ready to take you on a roller coaster. But be warned, you will need to buckle up because Cindy is out to get you mesmerized.
Like corruption, me never can stop. When me get to the top, me never gonna drop. I so hard, never wanna be broke. It's a tough world, never people is so nimejuta chochote nilikufanya. Tawezaje bila wewe, asali wa moyo wangu. Naamini nilikuumiza rohoni, naamini pia unilia machozi mengi. Ona tu nimekukosea.